I know
Sure.
reading a lot of the reports, it seemed like the Denver people were really happy with what Bo Nix was doing. And I'm not saying Bo Nix didn't have a very good practice, but uh, when you can't come when you're not supposed to, at least from the coach's perspective, come within 5 feet of the quarterback when you're rushing them, not only are you taking that part out of the equation, but the fear factor for the quarterback tends to drop quite a bit too when you know there's no way anybody's going to come close to touching you. So that impacts some things. But I thought from the Cardinals' perspective, it was about what I thought it might be. I'm a little interested. It was interesting. Jonathan Gannon only talks before practice,
I
not
saw
after
that.
practice.
Saw that.
So
Yeah.
he hasn't actually announced whether he was going to play the starters or not. So we're getting that from Sean Payton.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. That's it was a little bit of a surprise that the Cardinals played their starters in the first preseason game.
Calais Campbell, who's went to high school right here in Colorado, I think is the same age as LeBron James, if I'm not mistaken. And not enough people maybe talk about his
I think
longevity
he's
career.
younger than LeBron. He's 38,
Well,
I
he's got
believe.
18 years in. I don't know. LeBron's going in 20, so maybe
Yeah, but
just a little younger.
LeBron, a little younger, yeah.
Little
yeah,
younger.
Yeah.
That being said, what does he look like, and what's the expectations out of him concerning his age anyway?
Well, first of all, I know Calais very well, having covered this team for so long. So I covered the first 9 years of his career when he got drafted. And so I'm aware of Calais' arc and kind of the smart person that he is. When he showed up, um, he acknowledged that he feels he can still be a dominant player, but he knows he can only be a dominant player if he's playing 30 to 35 snaps a game rather than
65.
extended time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this that fits well with what this coaching staff likes to do because this coaching staff is all about rotating the defensive line and the edge rushers. So that's not that big of a deal, and I think Calais brings a lot to the table. I mean, considering his age, his metrics and his production were still excellent last year when he was in Miami. So they're hoping that he brings that to this table, and he doesn't have to do it a ton. Again, 30 to 35 snaps a game, and he knows that. It was kind of funny yesterday when it was brought up, hey, is there any chance you might want to finish your career here in Denver? It's your hometown. Calais kind of, and then somebody followed up, could this be your last season? Calais said, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. And then somebody followed up with, well, how did you get to that point that this would be your last one? And then he kind of backtracked a little and basically said, look, I felt the same exact way the last 2 years, this time of year, that it was going to be my last year. And then I kept playing. I'm all about living in the moment. And I believe Calais to be that. But Larry Fitzgerald, who obviously I covered, used to have a line, you want to retire before they retire you.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of where Calais is heading. Even yesterday when he was talking about possibly quitting, he goes, somebody said, what makes you think this is going to be your last year? And he goes, well, nature. He's older. Like he can't do what he used to do. And I think Calais is in that Fitz mindset that he wants to make sure when he goes out, it's still doing something at a pretty decent level. And it's not because they say nobody wants him around anymore.
Well, we all remember Elway's retirement, and basically in tears. He only went 15 years, which, I mean, let's be honest, playing football. Said, I know I can still play. It's just I don't know if I can prepare to play like I need to. And I think with older guys, that's what's even amazing. I mentioned LeBron a while ago. What I'm amazed by him, it's the preparation he's still putting in. And that's why I think it gets most guys, Darren, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because that was Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner. Now there was some physical to it. His wife wasn't thrilled with him still getting his head knocked off every so often. But Kurt basically said one of the reasons he stepped away was it was the mental grind to get ready for the games. The games themselves were easy. It was the rest of the stuff that you had to do to prepare yourself to get to that point.
Was there any Broncos player that stood out to you from a Cardinals perspective yesterday?
Again, it's easy to focus on the quarterbacks, but
that's fine. If it's Bo, it's Bo.
I
That's fine.
Noticing Bo Nix was impressive, and more importantly, it seemed like the Cardinals players noticed that he's pretty impressive. And I'll be honest, I was one of those guys that wasn't sure not necessarily that he could get to that point, but how quickly he was going to. And I think that goes to the abilities of Sean Payton, number one, as to coach a guy like that. But number two, that the experience in college and getting those reps mean a lot. I think we're finding more and more that the guys who have an extensive amount of experience in college are the ones that are really experiencing that kind of a success in the pros, and the ones that are more quick one and done, or whatever it is, 2 years or not a lot of games, they're struggling a little bit up on this level. So, but I'm impressed with Bo Nix, and again, as we all know, it's a quarterback league. We can talk about the whole rest of the roster, but if you don't have a quarterback who can perform in the toughest times, you're going to have a tough time doing much in the playoffs if you get there.
How big of a year, and what are the expectations on Kyler Murray?
It's a huge year for him. Expectations on Kyler are always high. I mean, he was the first overall pick, and you expect something from those guys in the first place. It's been a bumpy ride there's no question about that. And he has not always had the team around him. I know Mike Sando from The Athletic, when he was doing his quarterback tiers story, noted that I don't know if there's any quarterback that's had less of support from his defense over the years than Kyler Murray has. Now they've made a huge move in that direction. Their defense, they've added a ton to their defense. Their defense should be pretty good this year. They already have had one of the best running games the last couple seasons, and that's not going to change. So then what does the quarterback do with that? I think he's got his best supporting cast that he's probably had overall, like top to bottom on the roster. And he's going to be expected to perform at a higher level, more consistency. I don't want to say a higher level because he always hits certain levels. It's getting to that point on a consistent basis. I mean, this team was 6-4 last year, and then came out of the bye and just went into a ditch. And Kyler's play dropped too, and they can't have that, obviously. And they're going to probably be in the same boat this year because their schedule, at least on paper, when you go into it, is a lot easier in the first half of the season than the second half.
All right, Darren Urban from azcardinals.com. Hey, listen, your timing is amazing here in Colorado because you could just go on over and see more uninspired baseball from the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. That those two teams.
I actually am going tonight, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. And you gotta be in the same boat as us. Every time, hold on. Every time we see the Diamondbacks on the schedule, it's just okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? These two teams, I don't know if two teams can play more uninspired baseball against each other. Seriously, dude, it is awful watching those two teams play against each other.
I understand that to a point, although with the mess the expectations the Diamondbacks had this year, and have it just totally get derailed, and then they made the trades, and now all of a sudden they're playing better. Now, again, a lot of these games against the Rockies, what's your measuring stick? I understand that, but it's been a disappointing year for the Diamondbacks, no questions asked. But they still got some players that are interesting. And for me, having been in this hotel room for a couple of days, just getting outside and being in an open air ballpark sounds good to me.
Well, of course, because your field sucks, bro, and you know it. It's good because it's got air conditioning, but that field has no atmosphere in it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insulting here, but I've seen games there, and it sucks. There's there's no vibes in there whatsoever. If I'm speaking out of place, I apologize, but.
No, it's okay. Although if this is when you don't mean to be insulting, I'm afraid to hear what happens when you are insulting.
Well, we can talk about the Suns anytime you want. We can really get there if you want to.
We get into that right
No,
there.
but then you'll see. Well, I don't know. Have you been to Coors Field before? I kind of assume you have.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Okay, it's awesome.
Gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
For 25 years old.
Yeah, and you'll have an incredible sunset tonight. And you'll love it. You'll love it because it's an amazing place to be. But that's our problem. You realize that's our issue here in Colorado. Fans just are morons, and they just keep giving money to the ownership no matter what. And there's
unless the Diamondbacks, unless they move the baseball season from like November to March,
Yeah.
the Diamondbacks have to have something that's indoors. That's just the
Of
bottom
course.
line.
Yeah. Hey, we talked about that? Where do the Cardinals do their training camp?
They spend a little over 2 weeks. We're out at the stadium itself.
Inside in the stadium.
Inside.
Yeah.
And then there's this week where they had a couple practices outside in blazing heat, and then came here, and then they're going to go back to the facility.
Okay, well, we were debating that. I thought that was the case. Did the Cardinals used to go up to Flagstaff, though, for training camp back in the day?
They haven't gone to Flagstaff since 2012, but yes.
Okay, a long time ago. Because these guys are like, no, the Cardinals, because they were like, oh, the Cardinals, they're used to the heat. And I go, I don't think so. I think they practice inside in air conditioning.
That's crazy, yeah.
Right? Because yesterday
was hot
Yesterday was hot. That was a hot practice.
Although on Tuesday, the day before we left, and they had practice that day, it topped out at 118. So yeah, they do get some heat.
Dude, no, it's ridiculous. And I saw Dillingham, who I'm a big fan of. By the way, Arizona State ranked 11th preseason. 11th.
Go Devils.
How about, seriously. And Dillingham's out there. I got to love this guy. This little short guy is really super young, and he's ripping on the administration of ASU for not having an indoor facility the other day.
Well, that's fair.
Well, because what they do is they go up in the forest somewhere in Arizona for a couple weeks, but when they come back, they do not have an inside facility. They do practice at night, but Darren, I mean, so what? It's still 100 and whatever degrees at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, right? I mean,
This is true. This is true. I grew up with all that, yes.
But now you got a top 10. How sustainable do you think that really is? Because if it's sustainable there's no reason it couldn't happen in Boulder. There's no reason it couldn't happen. How sustainable do you think it is?
I believe it is sustainable because of Dillingham, who's approaching this completely differently. And since he's an alum of ASU, I do think he wants to be there long term, whereas every other ASU coach that had a chance to do something like this was always looking to go somewhere else. And obviously in today's day and age, if you've got a young coach who is energetic like that, you got a chance. And if you get a coaching staff like that, you got a chance to get players because they're moving on a year-to-year basis. So you're always going to have a chance to upgrade any place you need to upgrade. But we'll see. I've been down this road before with a good ASU team, and then it's floundered. So we'll see what happens.
All right.